Hey, it's Alyssa Tachlis in Tel Aviv. I guess you've heard the news. I think everyone has. What's going on in Israel and Jerusalem. Now is the moment to figure out right from wrong. To figure out maybe the truth from the false narrative or the insatiable lies. So let's pull it back. I'm going to deal with it in an Alyssa way. I'm going to throw a lot of the information out, and I'll be honest, I don't know specific details, and I'm sure I can be fought on that. But even the people that have the details can be fought upon their details. Go figure. 2 Fridays ago, while everybody was about to embark on their lovely Shabbat plans, we heard about 2 Israeli police officers being shot and murdered. And there was also a medic that the terrorists went after. These 2 police officers are not Jewish. They are Israeli citizens with full Israeli rights. They are Druzi Arabs. And if you do not know about these very nationalistic people, do your research. Druse. They're unbelievable human beings. That fact put aside. Fact. After that, Israel's defense forces needed to do something about the security situation, which they did. I think they might have closed the mosque down for a bit in order to erect metal detectors, because there's no way that Israel can handle more terrorism, so we control it a little bit. Let's talk about that area. So Aqsa is what they talk about. And so the brain immediately goes to that big gold dome. Aqsa is really about the whole general area. And the most important mosque on that area is a little black one. Nobody really talks about, and everybody just doesn't even realize it. The Arabs realize it, and they realize that they have this incredible ad with this big gold dome, which actually, what that big gold dome highlights is the holy of the holiest of spots for the Jewish people. But no Jews can pray there. Let me say that again. The spot of where this gold dome is where the biblical sacrifice took place. It is the holiest place for the Jewish people. Now, of course, it's said in the books of the high priest that it's such a sacred place that nobody should actually put their feet upon this area. A mosque was erected on top of that holy area. And it's interesting, it's Avraham, and in the Quran, it's Ibrahim. I'm not going to go into there because I'm not a master and specialist in that. But understand that this area is the most sacred to the Jewish people. But no Jews can pray there. Jews can get arrested. Jews can get in a lot of trouble for praying in their most holy site. So you must understand this entire area that is in such a conflict is not accessible to Jews. Now, a Jew can go up there, a tourist can go up there. I hear it's actually quite beautiful. I myself have never been to the structure of the Dome of the Rock. It is also a mosque. So now we have these murders. And then we have metal detectors. And the next thing you know, you see the most fabulous photo go up. Definitely Pulitzer Prize winning. Okay, and it is all these Arabs praying, their backs, all kneeling to the ground, and Israeli security forces, police, some people behind, but 5 or 6 of these guys standing there, and 5 erected metal detectors, and you see the Arabs praying to the metal detectors, and the IDF, and the Israeli forces. The truth of it is they just didn't want to pass for the metal detectors. Why? It's for the security of everybody, not just the people worshiping. There's tourists, there's people around. It's a very populated area. I'm really disillusioned, disappointed, confused, the mass of rioting that went on. And so, of course, rioting, once it starts, group, mentality starts, people are going to be wounded. There was a guy that was killed from his own Molotov cocktail. That's not an Israeli murdering an Arab. But the Friday after the murder of the Israeli police officers, there was another attack on a Jewish family that was celebrating a new grandson. And so the family was around the table and the doorbell rang and the terrorist showed up, a 19-year-old guy, and he stabbed a 68-year-old woman who's very severely wounded. And he proceeded to murder her husband and 2 children. Cold-blooded murder. People sitting around a Shabbat table. Thank God the wife of the son that was murdered, she was able to secure the children and save 5 children's lives. It's a life without your father. Now we're in this situation where the Arabs cried wolf and there was no global condemnation. Nothing. I mean, I don't even know if Americans even know that this happened. This terrible, horrendous, tragic terror attack. But guess what? No more metal detectors. Yeah, supposedly there's these new cameras, though, that can, check you out inside and out. I have no idea. I'd be the last one to want to look at everybody's junk. I don't know. And we still, as Jews, are not allowed to pray at the most holiest Jewish site that's in Israel. Of course, it's a problem with the authority of this area, the Aqsa area, because there's the Waqf, W-A-Q-F. It's a difficult word for an English speaker to say. And there is Israeli forces up there. But it's more, all right, so the Aqsa area is controlled by Israel's sovereignty, but it's maintained by Muslim control, or this Waqf, who I've talked about. And this all happened in 1967. Israel and the Jews were willing to give up their most holy site. And the Arabs are fully aware of the Temple Mount and what it means to the Jews. And so it's used pretty much against us. So now what do we have on our hands? At the moment, they've taken away these metal detectors. So it looks like the victims cried wolf and they won. Yay. There is no happy medium here. You know, they do say that if the Israelis put down their guns and their weapons, got rid of their defense forces, what would happen in this world? There'd probably be no Israel. But if the Arabs put down their weapons, stopped inciting their hate, stopped believing in some false narrative that has been handed down through the generations, we might be living in a peaceful world. The metal detectors are down. So now the Arabs, I don't know if it was the Waqfs or somebody told them that if Arabs were to pass through the metal detectors, that their prayers would be useless. That for some reason, some sort of something would take away the sanctity of their prayers. So now they're good to go. Now they can pray all they want. They're okay. The Jews cannot pray up there. And who knows what happens next. But the truth is important to know.